Welcome to episode 2 of Digital on Drugs, where Dominic and I will be taking a closer look at the rise of the iPad in pharma. Lest we forget, there are other tablets. The Google Nexus has just launched, and the Microsoft Surface, the Kindle Fire and the Galaxy are all vying for valuable tablet market share.
So where did this start, and how did we get to a stage where Apple highlighted pharma as one of its key growth verticals for 2011? It was back in 2010, only months after its launch, when the first pharma companies decided to investigate the potential and trial iPads for their sales teams, with J&J and AstraZeneca being some of the first. Why? Well, it enabled their sales teams to have a ready source of information and tell engaging stories with the use of graphics and rich media.
But there's so much more to it than this. Firstly, the audience is there. According to a report by the market research firm Knowledge Networks, ownership of tablets amongst healthcare professionals is 5 times that of the general population. And the recent Manhattan research showed us that tablet ownership among doctors has more than doubled to 62% since 2011, with the iPad being the dominant device.
The iPad provides a rich media platform that allows multimedia to add colour and interaction to the sales call, making marketing messages more memorable and often preferable to those presentations using older print materials. It's scalable and content can be edited quickly and inexpensively. This has huge implications for pharma. It means companies can instantly ensure reps have 100% compliant material if any changes need to be made, and have a real-time audit of this process.
That's right, specifically, it's more reliable, accurate and measurable than the existing laborious withdrawal of material process that many of you may be familiar with. There are cost benefits to not having to print materials, to not having to distribute them, as well as the ergonomic benefits of having access to almost endless supplies of data and information all in one place. And all of these elements mean a lower carbon footprint.
And then there's the analytics. Nearly all usage on the iPad is measurable. Every tap of the screen, drag of a slider. It allows companies the ability to add in surveys so valuable information can be obtained from your audience. Reviewing this data allows marketing teams to ask the question, does this content need improving, removing or adapting to ensure it's engaging and relevant? Vital when tracking KPIs of a brand.
But it has to be about commerce. Is it adding value, saving money and making the proposition more appealing? Well, statistics suggest yes. Once again, the Manhattan research showed that allowing the HCP to touch the iPad, engage and even drive the interaction ensures a better chance of behavioural change. So what are the options for building e-detail platforms?
Well, first there is Flash, and yes, Flash can be used on an iPad when built as an app. So why Flash? It's inexpensive, relatively easy to produce and provides a simple pathway to getting your information onto an iPad. Most digital agencies will have grown up with Flash, so the skill set is readily available.
So why is everyone talking about HTML5?
HTML5 is a standard that is also relevant to designing online, and as with Flash, the skills are often readily available in-house. HTML5 is often the standard for many large-scale rollouts. It provides a means of providing e-detail materials which can be adapted relatively easily and thus transcreated for local markets.
And what's the gold standard for the iPad?
Well, in terms of developing for the iPad, it has to be Apple's proprietary language Xcode. Using Apple's software development kit to write your apps in Xcode enables you to make the most out of the features of the iPad and fully utilise the inbuilt features such as the accelerometer, the camera and location services. In short, Apple's Xcode is the weapon of choice when building for Apple's iPad, iPhones and iPods. Only Apple can determine how software works best on its own devices. HTML5 and Flash are good alternatives, but there will always be a compromise with look, feel and functionality when using these other authoring tools.
And so far we've only discussed the iPad as a tool to show and capture data, wielded at the hands of ever-evolving sales representatives. But what about self-directed e-detailing? A number of pharma companies have started to send iPads to customers on request and to be collected at a set date. Locked down, it allows the HCPs to view branded messages via an app. This app captures all usage, data and provides the customer with the ability to learn at their own pace and in their own environment.
Most interestingly, once built, these assets can be repurposed in other channels, such as a conference or in a meeting environment.
So for many, the iPad seems like an obvious decision. But who supports the organisation through this change? It requires a change in thinking to ensure that every faculty across the business is supported when implementing new selling platforms. IT will want to integrate it with the CRM of choice. Medical, who will need support in relation to best practice of approving digital materials, and training and development, who will need to support users on how to use the tablet and then the skills required to improve in-call quality. This poses a number of big questions. Are these skills and behaviours in the traditional competency framework of the average brand manager?
Coming back to the device itself, the iPad is much more than an interactive booklet. Recently we have seen the camera being used on the iPad to showcase augmented reality assets, such as a mode of action or KOL presentations, in exhibition stands as a 3D holographic projector, and even the teleprompter we are using for this episode uses an iPad to project the script onto the reader.